Hi, this is John from Premiere Pro Classes, and today's tutorial is about the new awesome way you can work with transitions in Premiere Pro. Let me show you what I mean. So here I have two cuts on the timeline, and right now these cuts have no extra media on them, so I can't pull them out either way. So normally it would have to pull those clips in to do a transition, but the new way of doing it is I'm going to go to my effects window, and I'm going to go to transitions, and this works for all transitions. So I'm going to use a transition that's easy to see what's going on. Like let's say page peel. I'm going to put that transition on. Now, because I have no extra media on either end of these clips, the front has no extra, the back has no extra, it's going to duplicate frames to make that transition. So if I hit OK, when that transition goes on, you can see it has a render line on it. What it did, duplicating the frames, is it froze the last frame and the first frame of the video to make that transition. So that's what it meant by duplicating frames. Now, the great thing about these transitions are that they're really easy to move around. So if I take this transition and I want to stretch it out all the way, again, what it did was repeated the frames so that it's frozen where that transition has no extra frames. It just froze that first frame. And then you go past that and you can see that there's movement again. So that's what happens when you have a transition where you don't have the extra frames to make a transition. Another great thing about these transitions are you can easily move them and slide them wherever you want. So now as I slide it this way, it's actually freezing the frame of this clip on the left, the last frame, because it has no extra frames to make that transition. That's why she freezes during that transition. So that's what it does when it repeats frames. Now let me talk about how it works when you have actually extra frames for the transition. So I'm going to delete this transition. I'm going to pull this clip in so I have lots of extra frames. I'm going to pull this clip in so I also have lots of extra frames. I'm going to close the gap. So now I'm going to get, let's say, another transition. I'm going to get a push. So I'm going to drop that on. You don't get that message now because you do have extra frames. You can see it's just a simple push. I can, of course, spread that out as long as I want. When I run out of extra frames, then it's going to freeze it, but right now I don't. So now if I click on the transition and I go to the effects controls panel, now I have the controls for that transition. So I'm going to move my picture down here. So here I have the controls for that transition. So on the left side, I see the picture over here on the left, my clip on the left. On the right side, the clip on the right. So here I can tell the transition where I want it to come in. So if I put it to the middle here, the transition won't start till the middle, so it just pops in. Normally you want the transitions to start at the beginning and end at the end, but if for whatever reason you want it to just pop into the next clip in the middle of the transition, then it will do that. So that's another way to adjust your transitions. Another great thing is that you can adjust them up here in your effects controls window. You can stretch them and pretty much move them anywhere you like. And again, if you run out of media, it'll just freeze the frame at the end of the transition. So really a nice way to do transitions now that you can move them around anywhere you want. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial about transitions. Like or subscribe. See you next time. Thanks.